Hi everyone, this is Aga from EurekaCrystalBeads.com and I'm here with another fun beading tutorial for you. But before I get started, just a quick reminder to check out the rest of our channel, and if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss any of our content. In this video, I'll show you how to make this lovely, delicate and so sparkly pendant. In the main star of this one, just like with the previous video on the channel, are the crystals, and these once again are Elite Eureka Crystal stones and beads. They are made in Austria, they are machine cut. This is really top of the top quality. The color consistency is truly amazing, and in this pendant I'll be using an 8mm Chaton and 5 4mm bicone beads. It's not a lot, but they really do add a lot of sparkle. So here is what you'll need in addition to the crystals to create one of these. Oh, and here I have another version with a Chaton in one of the colors that we just released as of the recording of this video. And this is the Crystal Turquoise Ignite. And it has a color back, well, just like this one. And this is the Crystal Laguna Delight. It also has a color back, but it also has it's not an AB, it's just this shimmer and shine and bluish kind of sparkle inside of the stone. And the Ignite stones, they don't have that. They are just a bright pop of color, and the depth of color is amazing with their colored back. So this is the Turquoise Ignite. And it's also really beautiful, and it matches the bicones as well. But in addition to the crystals, you're also going to need seed beads, and that's basically it. You don't need a lot to make this. You're going to need some round seed beads. I'll be using Miyuki, and these are going to be around 11/0 and 15/0. And then we have some Delicas in 11/0. These are also Miyukis, plus literally 5 8/0s. And I decided to add an extra color in here. And this is Silver Lined Emerald AB. It's a beautiful color. And you're just gonna need 5 of them. You could also use 11/0s, like in here. This is gonna work as well, especially if you pick a Toho color for the accent color with seed beads, but with the 8/0s, it works just a little better. Alright, that's it for the beads. You're also going to need a size 12 needle with some 6-pound fireline in the color Crystal. Alright, I think that's it. Let's start beading. Alright, so here is the bead plan. First up, we're going to bezel the stone with 11/0s, and we're going to be using peyote stitch. Then we're going to make some herringbone stitch sun rays, let's call them that. And then we'll add our final embellishments all around. And I'll very quickly show you how to make a herringbone veil, but instructions for this one are also in our other videos, which I will link down in the description if you want a different type of veil. In any case, let's start. I'm going to start with about 3 feet of thread, and I'll pick up 20 11/0 beads. They're going to be the base for our peyote stitch, and I'm going to slide them down my thread and pass through the first one again, which will create a circle. You can tie a knot and trim off your tail. I like keeping it just in case those bicone beads cut my thread or something else happens, and those bicones are machine cut, so they do tend to be quite sharp, so you definitely need to be careful with your thread. In any case, I'm going to pick up a single 11/0. I'm gonna skip this next 11/0 after the one that my thread is coming out of, and I'm gonna pass through this next one. If it's challenging for you, you can start with a stop bead. So before you start adding any beads on your thread, you add a little bead and go through it twice so that it just blocks your thread from slipping through. I pick up another single 11/0. And I'm gonna skip another bead here and pass through the next one. So we're passing through every second bead along the way. Don't worry if it gets a little bit loose, but in general, you want the beads to end up one on top of the other. So every second bead, you're gonna have 2 beads on top of each other. Another one, skip 1 bead, go through the next one. If you have the right size, you can use, for example, a pencil as a guide to help you kind of stabilize this entire work. And this way you can see more clearly. Another 11-0, skip this one, pass through the next one. The only thing that's harder with the pencil is that the beads are tighter together, so it's a little bit harder to pass through that next bead, but it's easier to see everything that you're doing. Another one, and you go all around adding a single 11-0 every other bead. And that's going to be my last 11-0 in this row. And I'm going to pass through this bead that I would normally pass through, so every second one plus the first one that I added in this row. And if you pull tight, this is your entire sequence. Now I'm going to do that again, so I'm going to go around adding an 11-0 every second bead again. Now it's all easier because every second bead is slightly elevated, so it's halfway up. So you just pass through the beads that are half elevated. And that's my last 11-0. I'm gonna pull tight. And now as you look around at your work, what you want to see is 2 11-0s in each sort of column here. And that's all the 11-0s that we're adding in the bezel at least. But now my thread is coming out of one of the beads, like in the middle of this ring here. And I want it to be coming out of one of the outer beads, so I just pass on the diagonal through the 11-0 that's on the edge here. And now I'm going to add a row of 15-0s, and that's going to be our front of the bezel. And you do it exactly the same. You just add a 15-0 instead of an 11-0, and you pass through every second bead. Maybe I'll just add my pencil back. I'll pull it out like halfway because I'm going to want to pull the beads tight together. But in the meantime, I'm going to add like 5 15-0s before I take it off my pencil. And you just do your regular peyote stitch. So every other bead, which is every bead that's slightly elevated. Alright, and at what point you're gonna want to start pulling tight. You want to direct your 15-0s towards the center. And this is going to be my last 15-0 in here in this space. And I'm going to pass through the 11-0 and the first 15-0 that I added. And now as I pull tight and put my 15-0s on the inside there, they're going to get a little tighter. I'm going to pass through the beads in this row again. So through all of the 15-0s and the 11-0s. Alright, now the front is nice and reinforced. Now I want to get to the back to be able to close my bezel. And for this purpose, I'm just going to go on a diagonal, 1 bead at a time, or 2 if you can manage it. So I'm just passing through the beads downwards towards the back until my thread is coming out of one of the beads at the bottom here. One of those that are half elevated. And we're going to do the exact same thing, which is we're going to add 15-0s in between them, but I'm going to add like maybe 6 or 7, and I'm not going to pull tight yet because that's when we want to add our stone. So I'm adding the 15 O's in between the 11 O's that are elevated. Alright, so I've added 7. That's almost the entire row. I just want to make sure that when I pull, they're all going to nicely pull together. And now I'll be adding my stone. I flip it so that the back is facing me since I'm in the back. And I'm going to place it inside. It's going to be quite tight, so you might want to force it a little bit. Once it's there, you can just manipulate it a little bit so that it centers. I'm going to pull those 15 O's together, and I'm going to add the remaining ones. I'm going to go up through the first 11 O that I added here, all the while I'm making sure that it's pulled nice and tight. Alright, now I'm going to add another row of 15 O's in here. So I'm adding a single 15 O in between the 15 O's from the previous row. And that's my last 15 O in this row. I'm going to pull tight. Look how cute this looks. I'm going to step up through the 15 O from this new row. And now I'm going to add a 15 O every second spot. So I add a 15 O here, but I skip the next spot. And I'm quite simply going to connect these two 15 O's here. So right after I exit this 15 O that I normally would, I just connect it to the next one. Now I'm adding a new one, passing through this next 15 O here and connecting it to the next one. Adding another one, connecting these two. And another one. You're gonna have 5 in total in this row. And here's the final one. And that's that. I'm gonna step up through the first new 15 O that I added in this row. And in between those top 15 O's that are protruding a little bit, I'm gonna add an 11 O. So I'm connecting these 15 O's with a single 11 O. Another one here. Third one. Fourth one. And the fifth. I'm going to connect the 11 O's together. And that's the back of your stone completely covered and secured. Alright, at this point we want to reach the side of the bezel, namely the first row of beads that are under the 15 O. So you have the 15 O and directly under it you have an 11 O. And that's the row that we want to reach. Right now my thread is coming out of the 11 O in the back, so once again I'm just going on a diagonal 1 or 2 beads at a time, going towards that row that I want my thread coming out of. Which is this row exactly, right here. So the bead that is under the 15 O. At this point, it might be annoying for you to have this extra tail hanging around, so feel free to tie a knot and trim it off. I'm not gonna do that just in case and because I like holding on to it. Alright, but enough chit chat, let's start adding the sun rays. Right off the bat, I'm picking up 4 Delica beads and I'm passing through the very next 11 O in the same row. So I look for the next 15 here on the inside of the bezel, and I pass through the 11 that's directly underneath it. And I want these two pairs of Delicas to place themselves just like this. My thread is coming out of the 11 over here. I pick another set of 4 Delicas, pass through the next 11 on my path in the same row. And you continue, you should have 10 of those when you finish. Here is my last 2 pairs or last 4 beads. Voila. I'm going to go up the first pair that I added. And now on top of it, I'm going to add 2 Delica beads. And I'm going to go down the 2 beads on this other side. Just like that, just the 2 Delicas. And you want these to be placed on top. Now, this is going to be a lot of separate steps that you could think that we could do all at once, like this row and the next one that we're going to be doing. But in fact, if you want everything to look super nice and super even, this is the way to do it, because this is the way that the beads are going to be connected properly and they're going to arrange themselves properly. So now you want to connect these Delicas to the next 4. So I'm going up the first 2 of the 4, just connecting the 2 rays, 2 herringbone rays like that. I'm adding 2 Delicas on top over here, placing 2 Delicas down, making sure that they place themselves right, going up the next 2, adding 2 on top, and you just go all around, adding those beads exactly like that. Alright, last 2 beads in this row. I'm adding them on top of this little sun ray in here. I'm going to connect this last one to the first one. So this time I'm going up 3 beads because I already have the beads added here. And voila, look how cute this looks already. I'm going to pick up a single 11 and I'm going to add it on top over here, and I'm going to go down 2 out of the 3 Delicas in this other side, the herringbone stitch. I'm going to pick up 115 and I'm going to go up 2 out of the 3 top Delicas in this next sun ray, and I'm going to add it in between here. I'll pick up another single 11 I'll add this on top, but this time I'm only going to go down 1 Delica because we're going to be adding different beads every second space in between those sun rays. And then you pick up one of your extra 8/0s, and go up the last Delica in the next sun ray. Just like that, and you connect them. On top you add an 11. Now I'm gonna go down 2 Delicas, because every other sun ray you're going to add something different. You're gonna add 5 8/0s and 5 15/0s. Now it's time for a 15/0. So I'm going to go up 2 of the 3 Delicas in this next segment, next sun ray. 11 on top, and down just 1 Delica. adding an 8/0 and up the last Delica in the next one. 11 on top, down through 2 Delicas. Now a 15/0. Add an 11/0. Third 8/0. You just go around adding 11/0s on top and 15/0s and 8/0s all around. And now here's my last bead, which in this case is the 8/0. And I'm ready to start a new row. My thread is coming out of the 11/0 on top, just for the sake of everything fitting nicely and snug together. I'm gonna go down as if I was just adding the next 15/0, just so that everything is a little bit tighter here. And I want to be coming out of the 11/0 on top of one of the sun rays here. Now, whenever you're above your 8/0, you want to add 4 11/0s. 4 11/0s here, and just through the next 11/0 like that. Nothing too fancy. Now we're going to be adding our bicones, and we're going to do it in a sequence of 15/0 bicone 15/0 and just through the next 11/0. Just like that. 4 11/0s again. So again, you're adding 2 different sequences depending on where you are. When you're on top of the 15/0 from the previous row, you add a bicone. When you're on top of the 8/0, you add 4 11/0s. For me, it's 15/0 bicone 15/0 again. Now that's my last sequence. It's with a bicone. And it's never good to have just one thread going through your last row. So we're gonna go through this last row again, but this time I'm gonna add an 11/0 in the middle of the 4 11/0 sequence here to make this flower have a little bit more pointy petals. You can just skip this and just pass through all of the beads in this row again, but I'm gonna add an extra 11/0 right about in here. So I passed through 2 of the 4. Now I'm passing down through the 2 remaining 11/0s and the 11/0 on top of this ray here. And there it pops into place. And everything is a lot more pointy. I'm gonna pass through the 15/0 bicone 15/0 and the next 2 11/0s all at once. Extra 11/0. And you just go around adding the 11/0 and reinforcing your last row all around the beadwork. Alright, and that's the work done basically. I trimmed off my tail thread, and now you can make this into anything you want. You can make this into an earring. I'm going to make this into a cute little pendant, and to do that I'm going to create a little beaded veil. And I'm going to start by making my thread come out of this top 11/0 on one of those points. And I'm gonna pick up 4 15/0s and I'm gonna go around that 11/0. Just like that. I'm gonna go up 2 of these 4 15/0s. I'm gonna add another pair of 15/0s here. So 2 15/0s, and I go down these 2 on this other side. I follow the thread through the 11/0 and up 3 15/0s on this other side. And I'm actually going to continue with the 15-0s because I want a nice and delicate bail. So I just pick up 2 15-0s, go down the single one on the opposite side to where my thread is coming out, place them on top. Now back up through 2. I pick up 2 new ones, down through 1, up through 2. And you just continue for as long as you want your bail to be. And when you reach the length that you like, when you fold it to the back, and that's the size that you would like, you go to the back, you pick up 2 15-0s, and pass through the 11-0 in the original beadwork from the side where your thread is coming out of the bail. You pick up 2 more 15-0s, and then you find the bead in the bail that doesn't have the 2 15-0s connected to it, and you pass through that. Now back through the bead on the other side and the 2 loose ones that I just added a minute ago. Through the 11-0 again. And up through 2. So up through the 2 last ones that I added. Now I'm gonna go down through the 2 on the other side because we want to connect them just like in the front they're connected. And that's your bail done. I'm gonna pass through the 11-0 and the original beadwork again. I'm going to pass through some more beads, tie my knot, trim off the tail, and that's gonna be it. And that's your pendant done. I think it looks lovely with a bit of ball chain. It's just as delicate as the pendant itself. So I think it fits, but you can use any chain you want or make your own chain with beads. I think this pattern is super pleasant to make. It's not that quick to make, maybe. It's not like super fast, but it's definitely so satisfying, and the crystal sparkles so beautifully. It's just really unmatched. All of the Elite Eureka Crystal stones and beads and pearls you can find at EurekaCrystalBeads.com, as well as all of the other materials that I used today. A full list of all of the supplies to make this pendant will be listed under the first link in the description down below. Meanwhile, thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video. Bye!